So just to bring you up to date on what has happened so far, they have traded for 2 pitchers that I think help supplement their bullpen. Mike Soroka, well-traveled, former All-Star, right-hander, former Atlanta Brave, former Chicago White Sox, former Washington National, current Chicago Cub. Where does he fit? Probably the Chris Flexen role, right? Chris Flexen was DFA'd. I still don't know quite what to make of that. I still am not sure quite what precipitated that. We'll find out more if we get more clarity after the deadline. But Mike Soroka comes to the Nationals, and the Cubs didn't have to give up too much. They gave up shortstop Ronnie Cruz and Christian Franklin, who I think was blocked. So you look at the haul, and you think, okay, shrug. Mike Soroka is a shrug right now. And then later in the night, last night, as you're hitting refresh, waiting for the big trade to be pulled off, wondering where Eugenio Suarez is going to end up, more on that later, you get the news that the Cubs have traded for Andrew Kittredge from the Orioles. Dustin, I don't know what flight he's going to be on coming to Chicago.
Isn't that kind of fun though? Right?
Yes, it is.
Right? Like, how does he like, you're no longer on this team, or the Orioles say, okay, we'll bring him, but as an example, you owe us $850 for the flight.
I know.
Like, do they have to, like,
they're going to dock his pay?
Do they got to pay for the flight?
If I'm him, I'm flying separate. If I'm him, I don't know that I want. It'd be kind of awkward, wouldn't it? But he might not know these guys that well anyway. It is his first season in Baltimore. Long-time Tampa Bay Ray. Spent last season with the Cardinals.
And that's what kind of gets you excited when you see the stats.
Yes. His stats are impressive. This is a 35-year-old relief pitcher that is going to stabilize some things near the back end of the bullpen. I look at him, Dustin, correct me if I'm wrong. I think that he could fit into the high-leverage situations that they might have envisioned for Ryan Presley.
And or Porter Hodge. Because I don't think Porter Hodge is coming back.
And or Porter
soon.
Hodge.
So I'm saying this could be your get the last out of the 7th inning type of guy, and then depending on who's due up in the top of the 8th, maybe he carries over. So maybe you're going Thielbar, Keller.
It gives you some options.
It
provides some depth.
It definitely gives some depth. And I think he knows, based on what he did with the Cardinals, he knows the division a little bit.
He does know the division from last year, which is good. He'll face the Brewers 5 more times, which is fun. And for the people out there who look into such things deep into the weeds, 41.3% chase rate, 25.2% K rate, 6.5% walk rate. And this is somebody who will help your bullpen stabilize, be more consistent, because it has been a little shakier than normal lately. So you'd like to get it back to where it was for most of this season. So Andrew Kittredge coming to the Cubs, along with Mike Soroka. The bullpen has been addressed, I think. Now it's time to move on, Jed. Now we can get to the main part of the program. Because if you want to get over the top, you have to have more than the underwhelming return that yesterday provided. A reaction. I shouldn't say an underwhelming return. The return on these 2 trades, satisfactory. I would think above average even. You're happy your bullpen is better. The object of the exercise, though, is not just to make the bullpen better. The object of the exercise that we have been waiting for and is now just 11 and a half hours away is to get that pitcher or that hitter that's going to make you feel better about competing for a World Series. That's what it's all about. If while we're Googling Mike Soroka to make sure he's not the former White Sox from way back, while you're figuring out what you want and who else, all these prospects that they're giving up and how good was Ronnie Cruz really, remember this. The Cubs always wanted to make a deal, or the hope is that they make a deal that helps put them over the top. Who is that pitcher? Surprisingly, it might not be Mitch Keller. Late report last night, Ken Rosenthal suggesting that the Pirates ace Oh, he's not the Pirates ace. We know who that is. He's not available. Paul Skeen's not available. But Mitch Keller is not going to likely be traded now. How did that happen? When did that happen?
Well, you wonder, there was a picture floating around of Skeens like on a little bit of a walk. It must have been during like a warm-up period with the owner. And if that was like, if Skeens is the pseudo general manager, like, I'd like to keep some guys around. Look at what I'm doing. You can't just trade every. So you wonder, but then they trade in the division. They trade a third baseman to the Reds.
Brian Hayes goes from the Pirates to the Reds.
That I thought was interesting.
Yes. Okay, let's do the third base rundown because they're all out of third baseman. No, that's good. There's no third baseman left to trade for. You know who slept better than Moses Ballesteros last night if you're a Cub? Matt Shaw.
You know who needs a third baseman desperately now? The Astros.
The Astros need a third baseman. That's a good point because Isaac Paredes,
he gone
out for the season, hamstring injury, going to lead to surgery. You feel bad for them. That's why they're talking to the Twins about Carlos Correa coming home.
And he's willing to play third, supposedly.
And waive his no trade.
And he wants to get out of there. He wants to go back. He wants to go back there where it was easier to detect pitches. It's loud in Minnesota.
That's funny.
The garbage cans are different. So you're right. The third base market is very interesting because to recap, Ryan McMahon, who went from the Rockies to the Yankees, won the game in a walk-off last night for the Yankees. He's already paid off. He's contributed. How about that Yankees game? First team in the Major League history to come back in the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th, and to win it in the 11th. He's in New York. Brian Hayes goes from Pittsburgh to Cincinnati within a division, which is kind of weird. And then the big one, Eugenio Suarez. The Seattle Mariners get their guy, bring him back, and his second stint with the Mariners, and they give up a king's ransom to the Diamondbacks, who are in sell mode, and he joins Josh Naylor, I think, in Seattle. So I think they are, right now, the winners of the trade deadline. Seattle gets two big sluggers away from the Diamondbacks. So the Cubs are not in the Suarez market. I was looking forward to having Pat Hughes pronounce that name on a daily basis and for him to hit more home runs, but I guess we're going to have to be without that. Pat must be very disappointed. He had a lot of fun with that name. He had a lot of fun with that name yesterday.
Hey, you, Genio.
Pat Hughes doing Rocky Balboa is quality radio.
Hey, you, Genio.
That made me laugh yesterday. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. It was hilarious. So let's recap. The Cubs did not get Suarez. Now who are they after? Who do they want? Who's available? I still think it starts with Alcantara. I still think that you have to explore the Mackenzie Gore market. You still have to look at what's available in Arizona during their fire sale. Merrill Kelly or Zach Gallen would still fit the profile of the top of the rotation starter who you could envision pitching a playoff game. Who am I forgetting? Who am I overlooking or dismissing? I think those four guys. Seth Lugo resigned. Edwin Cabrera, maybe. But there are not a lot of de facto aces out there. The name that you may also hear today speculated among Cub fans, it's a romantic idea and notion. I don't think he's got anything left, but Justin Verlander, if the Giants are selling to the degree that they might, could be on the market. I don't know if he fits, but I don't know that I'd say no either. Justin Verlander, Cub fans, what would he do for your appetite for a pitcher that you don't have? I think he would just kind of fool you into thinking it's 5 years ago or 10 years ago.
I was going to say 10 years ago, right?
Yeah. I think Jed Hoyer has a mandate today, and that is to trade for a starter that it can make a playoff contribution in a big way. And if he doesn't do that, there's going to be some disappointment. We don't need to fool ourselves. There's going to be a lot of rationalization if he doesn't trade for that guy. And I think that guy's still out there. Dylan Cease is probably not going to be traded. I didn't mention him because I think he's been pulled off the market, even though the Padres are in them some very interesting rumors and speculation. Mason Miller. Wow.
That would be a wow because they've already got kind of an all-star back end of their bullpen. And then, we were talking about the Astros, and now the Astros seem like they're all in on Alcantara from the Marlins. Mm-hmm. So that's where the guy that I don't know if you and I are totally lockstep on that one, but that for me, that's the guy I most would want.
Sandy Alcantara?
For the Cubs.
Me too. That's the guy who I hope they announce. He's also the guy who might be.
It'll cost you Owen Casey.
It could cost you Owen Casey.
It will cost you. It will cost you Owen Casey.
But you get
control.
2 years of contract control.
That's why you can live with it. Because the 2 years of control, David, I think, and what's important is that's like the Cubs window. If there is such a thing, if you believe in those things.
The window's open. The window is wide open. 2 more names. Joe Ryan from the Twins. If the Twins are selling, I don't think that they're going to trade him, though. And in a different scenario, in different circumstances, Shane Bieber is a guy with a great track record, but an injury history that scares you. I don't know where he is, but I think the Cubs have. I saw one story yesterday referencing them exploring that possibility and looking at his medicals possibly. So there are a lot of names going to be out there.